There has never been more opportunities than there are now to quit your 9 to 5 and work from home. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you 10 lessons I have learned from quitting my job and working from home as a Pinterest manager. Lesson number 1, if somebody tells you that what they are teaching is fast, easy, and overnight, I would go into it very apprehensive, because when you are starting an online business, it's not easy. And if somebody tells you you're doing something wrong because you're not experiencing fast, easy, overnight success, then that is a major red flag. And we live in this time where there are a lot of legitimate ways that you can work from home online and make an amazing income, but they're not always easy. And just because it's not easy doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. A lot of these opportunities are shared on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. And one of my pet peeves is that when people make it seem like it should be easy for everybody. Do some people experience fast success? Yes, there are people. I'm not saying that these creators that are making these videos are all lying, but I do think it creates this landscape and kind of paints a picture for people that if they aren't experiencing that same success in that amount of time, that they're doing something wrong. And the truth is that it's not easy to start a business. Is it worth it? Absolutely. But it's not always going to be fast and easy. And if you feel that somebody is making it seem like it should be, then that's a little bit concerning. So that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2, it is about finding something that is in alignment for you. When I was looking into work from home options, this was around that time where I felt like VIP Kids was kind of becoming popular. I have to be honest, I don't even know if that's an option anymore. At the time, it was an option where you could teach online to kids. I believe it was in China. And ultimately, I didn't end up going that route, although it did feel right to me to continue to teach because I was a former teacher. The hours didn't align with me and when I wanted to be working. I also had an 8-month-old at the time, and so I decided not to go that route. I knew I wasn't interested in starting an Etsy shop or Teachers Pay Teachers shop. I knew I didn't want to go the MLM route. There was a lot of things that didn't feel in alignment to me. And I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with those other options. I have very close friends who make a killing from their Etsy shop, their TPT shop. I have had clients who make a mind-blowing amount of money monthly from their Teachers Pay Teacher shop. But it just wasn't for me, and that's okay. So when I found freelancing and that I could offer a service to business owners, it really aligned with my personality because I'm an Enneagram 2. And if you're not familiar with that, I am the helper. I like to help people. And I was a former teacher and I really loved helping my students. And so it really felt right to me to be able to continue to help people and know that I could offer a service that would help increase their business. And it really felt like a win-win. Ultimately, I had started as a virtual assistant. That wasn't really my jam. Pivoted to social media management, also wasn't my jam. And then that's when I decided to listen to this instinct I had that kept saying Pinterest management could be the perfect fit for you. So I did have to take a few different courses. I joined a membership. I invested multiple times over in learning how to market on Pinterest. And I learned a lot through those different programs, but they weren't specifically geared towards Pinterest managers. So I had to learn a lot of the systems and processes, onboarding clients, offboarding clients myself. So there was a bit of learning curve, but it was always in alignment for me and it felt right because once again, I was doing something that I knew felt right to me. So find something that aligns with you, and because one thing works for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and that's okay. It's all about finding something that feels right to you because otherwise it's just not going to be sustainable. Now, I'm not saying don't push yourself outside of your comfort zone, which brings me to lesson number 3. You are absolutely going to have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. But I think it's different when something feels inauthentic and actually makes you cringe and you're like, I do not want to do this, compared to, I know I can do this, but it is uncomfortable. So I learned that I have to step outside that comfort zone. I had to learn new skills. It was uncomfortable learning platforms such as Canva, and then I had to learn how to keep my books, and there was a lot I had to learn about starting a business, and it was all very uncomfortable because I had never done it before. But that wasn't necessarily an indication that it wasn't the right thing for me. So it's about deciding, is this uncomfortable because it's new to me and I have to learn something new? Or is this uncomfortable because it's not right for me? So I know that there are people who are influencers who absolutely crush it working as an influencer. That was never my thing. That did not feel right to me. I didn't want to go that route. So that's kind of what I mean about stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that also kind of goes along with number 2 when I was kind of sharing about finding something that feels in alignment to you. So lesson number 3 I learned is that you're gonna have to step outside your comfort zone and get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it just comes with the territory. Lesson number 4 that I learned is find somebody who has already done what you want to do. So I did struggle with that a little bit as a Pinterest manager, because I definitely clung on to this amazing agency. You can follow them, you might already know about them if you're in the Pinterest sphere, but Simple Pin Media, they were such a wealth of knowledge. I still follow them. I will never be one to say I know it all or I can't continually be learning, but I took their Simple Pin Ad Society, but then I just devoured their podcast in the beginning. But I didn't actually have somebody who specifically taught you how to start your Pinterest management business. And so now that's actually what I do. So I have a Pinterest Manager Academy, and I have this academy where I am teaching people how to start their successful and thriving Pinterest management business. And I have done for the past 5 years what I'm teaching these women how to do, and that is start that business. So I have literally done what they want to do, and that's anywhere from their income goals working as a Pinterest manager. Maybe it's $2,000 a month, maybe it's $5,000, maybe it's $10,000 and beyond. And I've been there myself, and I have walked through that scaling process. So I wish I would have had somebody to cling on to in that sense and learn from, who had already done what I want to do. So I was taking in amazing Pinterest information from these other sources. And I actually did invest in a freelance course in the very beginning. And what this course creator had created was a program where she taught women how to start their freelance business. So once again, I'm really practicing what I'm preaching. And I took something where she specifically actually was a teacher as well. She had quit her job and started her freelance business. So it was more general, and it really helped me learn the foundations of my business before I decided to ultimately pivot to Pinterest management. So, lesson number 4 that I learned was learning from somebody who's already done what you want to do. And as I have continued to scale my business, I've continued to do that. I have to find people who are at the next level of where I want to go. And I will say I've gone a little bit at times at a snail's pace, because I've also continued to grow my family. I have little kids. I don't have full-time childcare. So it's definitely not been overnight success, but I have continued to invest in myself and my business. And like I said, at different levels, I've had to invest in business coaching and learning from people who have scaled to points in their business where I want to scale from. So that was lesson number 4 that I learned. Lesson number 5 that I learned is that there's no such thing as oversaturation. I truly believe in my heart that there is room at the table for everybody. There are millions and millions and millions of online businesses, and I truly do not believe there are too many Pinterest managers. And I feel that was a mindset I had to overcome. There is always room at the table, and I truly believe that in order to be successful in business in general, not just as a Pinterest manager, you have to have this abundance mindset, build relationships, and be willing to learn from others and share with others as well, because those relationships have helped me so much in really developing that mindset that I can learn from other people and I can help other people, and that there is room for all of us. That has been a game changer for my business. And going straight into lesson number 6 that I learned is that time is truly your most valuable commodity. And when you're wanting to become a Pinterest manager, I truly believe that you could try to figure it out on your own, and you could be successful if you had made up your mind that you're not going to quit and you're going to continue until you are successful at this. And of course, everybody's definition of success is different. Some people, success to them is replacing their current income while working less hours from home. Other people want to make multiple 6 figures, maybe maybe even 7 figures one day. So everybody's definition of success is different. And for me in the beginning, I just wanted to replace my teaching income and be at home with my daughter. So when I was able to do that, I felt super successful. But as I started to grow my business, I really didn't value my time like I should. There were certain things in my business that other people couldn't do for me, but there was a lot of things that I should have handed over. And time is truly something that we can't get more of, we can't get back. There is always more money to be made, but we can never get our time back. So lesson number 6 that I had to learn was that time is my most valuable commodity. And I probably could have honestly grown a lot faster if I would have been willing to outsource or even invest in coaching sooner. There's a lot of different ways that I could have either invested in other people's services with them helping me, investing in further coaching. But in the beginning, I was holding on to that money and income I had made so tightly. I didn't want to reinvest in my business, and kind of going back to mindset, that was kind of a fixed mindset where I was almost unwilling to do that. And then once I realized that you are investing in yourself and you put money back in your business, that actually helped me grow exponentially. But it was definitely scary in the beginning for sure. Lesson number 7 that I learned from starting my Pinterest manager business was that we all have our own superpowers. So you could be a Pinterest manager and your friend Sally could be a Pinterest manager as well, but you are not the same person. And I truly believe in my heart that we all have God-given talents that make us unique and make us in our own ways uniquely qualified to help business owners if that's what we're doing. And for a while, I didn't feel like I had a unique selling proposition, and we all do. And I'm actually working with my Pinterest Manager Academy students on finding what makes them unique and special. And for me, I really clicked with teachers, and that was kind of my superpower, was helping specifically teachers pay teacher sellers or teacher business owners thrive on Pinterest. And I'm not just saying niching down, but I just understood their business, and that was kind of my thing. And I think that when we find what does make us unique, whether it be special services we offer, special, a specific audience we're serving, that we have to find what makes us unique and really lean into that. And I really think that in the beginning, I didn't think I had anything that was special, but that's a lie. We all do. And I think that sometimes it just takes a little bit to figure that out. But when we do, it's so important to lean into that. And it's so interesting because I was a teacher and I felt that in so many ways, I was absolutely the best person to serve these teacher business owners. And I'm actually still using being a teacher and an educator as my superpower, because I attract a lot of people to my business, whether they want to learn Pinterest marketing for their business or to become a Pinterest manager, because they are confident in my ability to break down information and explain things well. And so I'll have people say, I want to learn from you because you were a teacher, and I think that you can help me understand these what could be complicated concepts. So that, being a former teacher is actually my superpower. And at one point, I thought that was a weakness, which was definitely an oversight, to be honest. Lesson number 8 that I had to learn is that business is not going to be linear. You are going to go through seasons where you are experiencing amazing growth and the roller coaster just keeps going up, and then eventually the roller coaster comes down. And sometimes when we are going down or we're in those valleys, it can feel so challenging. It makes us want to give up. It makes us feel like we're failures. It makes us feel like we're doing something wrong. And I had a business coach tell me that if you wouldn't quit on your best day, you can't quit on your worst day, because of course you want to throw in your towel when you're struggling. But the thing is if you still have those feelings and it's your best day, then maybe it's not your passion. Maybe it's not what you are, meant to do for, ever or the next 5 years. But if you're just going through a challenging season, it's so important to push through and remember your why. And the reason why I started my business was originally so I could be at home with my daughter and raise her myself and, not have to put her in daycare. And I want to say, I know that some people do not have the luxury, because I stayed at home for the first 8 months. Whatever your situation is, this is not to diss whatever people have to do for their unique family situation, but that wasn't for me. And my why was to be at home with her. And I had to push through those different valleys and times where I wanted to give up and I felt like this isn't for me. And I had to push through and remember why I was doing this so that I could be at home with her, but still help support our family financially, because life is expensive and we didn't really feel like we could even continue with what had been our regular, lifestyle, comfortably paying our mortgage, paying for groceries, taking a family vacation. Those are luxuries for a lot of people. And so we just wanted to continue that. And that meant that we needed another source of income. So I really had to learn to push through those challenging times, understand that success isn't always going to be perfectly linear. And that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong, but that when you are taking consistent action, you're testing different things, you're trying different things, you're asking for help when things feel like they're not working for your business, that those actions that we're taking consistently start to compound over time. Side note, if you are wanting help with mindset and taking these actions and forming these habits that do compound over time, I highly recommend listening or reading to the book Atomic Habits. That book is so helpful. And that is really the thought process there, that things aren't always linear, but they do compound over time and you have to continue to take action. So that was a huge lesson for me, because I want things to always be up and up and income wise and growth wise. And especially with adding babies different points in my business career so far, there have been certain years where I actually went backwards income wise. And that's kind of comes with the territory. So that was lesson number 8. Lesson number 9 is that I could not listen to other people and have that impact the decisions I was making for my family and my career. When I started my Pinterest management business, actually when I just became a freelancer in general, I was so worried about what other people would think of me, what my family would think of me. I'd only taught for 3.5 years and I was already quitting my teaching job. Now, I don't know that they found that super surprising, just because it's no surprise teachers don't make a whole lot of money. So I think it was pretty logical that it didn't make a lot of sense for me to go back to the classroom. But to start this career, and nobody else in my family has done anything like this at all, I was really concerned about what they might think about this, if they would think it was silly. Former coworkers, I was friends with them on Facebook. I didn't want them to see my business. I had to let go of what everybody else thought and just know I am making an honest and a good income, and it feels right to me for my family working from home. And I had to focus on that and just kind of shut out the rest. And that's definitely easier said than done, but it ultimately was the best decision for our family, and nobody has to understand that. But like I said, I go back to it's good and honest work, and that's the most important thing. So it is hard to let go of other people's opinions, but at the same time, they're not paying your bills, and you have to do what's going to be best for your family. And lesson number 10 that I learned when starting my Pinterest management business, that is definitely going to apply to you, whether you're starting your Pinterest management business in 2024 or 2030, is that it is so important to listen to your intuition. I don't want to say the first year of business I wasted my time with being a virtual assistant or working as a social media manager, but I had this nagging feeling that Pinterest would be the best fit for me. And I kind of pushed that aside because I was a little anxious about marketing on Pinterest and what that even meant. It was very intimidating to me for whatever reason. And I kept pushing that feeling aside. And I truly believe those things are put on our heart by God for a reason, that it was the right fit for me. And I kept trying to push that feeling, that intuition aside. And it was the perfect fit for me. And it would be interesting to see where I'd be if I would have started as a Pinterest manager from day one, but I'm also a believer that everything works together for a reason and for a good. So that year I learned so much when I worked as a virtual assistant and a social media manager. But I just want to say, if this does feel right to you, I would love for you to watch my next YouTube episode where I will share how to become a Pinterest manager. And I also have a free guide and a free training if you want to learn more about those, which will be linked in this episode. So I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel, and I'd love to see you in next week's episode. Bye for now.